What up, y'all? It's your boy Breezy with the heavyweight commentary, and you're now locked in with all things wrestling. That's right. This is the bonus show in addition to the heavyweight commentary show with me and my broadcast partner, Big K-Dog. Talk wrestling. We wrap up the weekend wrestling. We get into the meat and potatoes. But this right here is just kind of breaking down some of the topics that sneak in between the cracks. Pause, that you just never know will come up. So listen, guys, Smackdown was fire. I can't front on that, man. A lot of y'all are saying that Smackdown wasn't that great. I know there's quite a few of you who've had opinions on Smackdown, what's going down with the show overall. I think what we have to consider is this. We've asked WWE to step out on a limb. We've asked them to do some things differently than what they were normally doing. Then on the back end, we get upset when WWE takes risk, does some original booking, some creative booking, and we say, no, that wasn't good. It's kind of fickle. IWC wrestling fans, even some of my colleagues out there, some of my illustrious colleagues in the wrestling broadcast world, those of you giving your opinions, okay, at the high level, at every level, y'all got to let up a little bit. And the reason why I say that is because many of y'all are heavily critiquing WWE, but you don't give them the credit for making changes, and sometimes the changes don't work. At least they're doing something unique. Case in point, Aleister Black coming out to put Cody Rhodes on notice. Aleister Black saying, listen, got a chip on my shoulder, bruh. And that chip on my shoulder is the size of the WWE Undisputed Championship. I don't have a problem with that. I actually like that. I like that we're seeing something fresh. It was so fresh that guess what I thought? Wait a second, is this SmackDown? I'm like, wait, I'm hitting my remote like, is this SmackDown or is this AEW Dynamite? Aleister Black and Cody Rhodes? It seemed like something out of AEW. Nevertheless, it was cool. It was great. Why was it enjoyable? Because it was a departure from the same tired storyline with Drew McIntyre. And we'll get to that in a little bit because, of course, Drew inserted himself, into that picture. Nevertheless, Cody and Aleister Black, got involved in an interesting segment. Now, I'm going to zonk this segment, okay? I'm going to have a little beef with this segment. Why is that? I did not like Zelina Vega putting her hands on Cody Rhodes. WWE seems to want to do this a lot. Now, unless we're bringing out Brandy Rhodes in the near future, I'm not a fan. I wasn't a fan when Becky Lynch was putting her hands on CM Punk. I'm not a fan of Zelina Vega putting her hands on Cody Rhodes because it really makes your baby faces punked out. It punks out your baby faces, I should say. It really makes your baby faces look kind of weak. And I'm not saying that some of these ladies can't go. Zelina Vega has proven herself in the ring. But compared to someone the stature of Cody Rhodes, the strength of Cody Rhodes, who can take on the toughest guys, Brock Lesnar, for example. He can take on the toughest guys in WWE. And you mean to tell me that Zelina Vega is going to get the better of him? I'm not feeling that. I'm never going to be feeling that. But that's neither here nor there. I just had to throw that out there because that's one point that I'm going to nitpick in that segment. I like that this is fresh. I like that we're bringing in other competitors into the main event picture, the WWE Undisputed title picture, guys who are legitimate, credible threats. I take nothing away from that. So kudos to WWE. I got nothing but love for y'all when it comes to that. Now, Cody Rhodes, Aleister Black, they start to build this thing up. Later on that night, things unfold, of course. We know Zelina Vega got involved. Damian Priest got involved. We know a lot of crazy things went down as they had their encounter. Drew McIntyre kicked the face off of a referee. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the same referee who got knocked out in Drew McIntyre's match. And I can't help but to believe that Drew McIntyre is cursed. I think if they're smart, right? Feel me on this. If they're smart, they're going to make it to where Drew falls under some sort of old Scottish curse from his ancestral family line. I would book it like that. I would book a segment where Drew goes back to Scotland. Okay, you can film that, in a lot of places. But Drew goes back to Scotland and he discovers that there's a curse on the McIntyre clan. I think it would be really cool booking, and that McIntyre would have to go through a process to lift the curse. And all of a sudden, we've seen Drew lose. Drew starts to win. Kind of like what they did with Happy Corbin, right? Baron Corbin was so down, so defeated, so beat up. And then Happy Corbin, he gets a little bit of money and starts to come up. His fortunes change. I think it'd be a cool storyline. All right. We saw Damian Priest get involved. So obviously there's going to be some sort of tag team action in the near future. Damian Priest and Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre and Aleister Black. And they're going to mix it up and perhaps kind of interchange and do this four-way dance. We could see triple threat, fatal four-way, tag team matches. We could see intergender matches, mixed tag matches, if you will. There's a lot that could play out here, and I'm very curious on how it's going to play out. Another noteworthy point from WWE SmackDown was Chelsea Green taking on Julia. Now, I know a lot of the IWC is buzzing. Again, I pay attention to what y'all are saying here, just as much as I pay attention to the product. Maybe not as much, but enough. So I noticed IWC is tripping on, did Julia get buried? One big creator, I'm not going to say your name out there, but one of the larger creators that I follow, much respect to him, posted on his video. This title was Julia Buried. I don't like that we're saying that, because here's the thing, guys. WWE does bury some talent. But in the case of Julia, I don't think it's a matter of her getting buried. I think it's a matter of her just not really holding up to the standard. And I'm not saying that's all her fault. I'm just saying that we've seen Julia. They took a chance on Julia. They pushed Julia from NXT. They got her out there, what have you. And Julia, unlike Stephanie Vaquer, she's just not really coming through as strong, I think, as I would hope, as many would have hoped. And WWE is probably among the many. So having said that, they had to make a shift, make a change. I think it was a very smart change to get that title off of Julia. Okay. Let her get some more seasoning on, because she's a little bland, so to speak. And Chelsea, who is red hot, who could easily be the women's champion any day of the week. Put her on anything women's wrestling and she's going to shine. She's a great choice. I love Chelsea for the U.S. title. I love that she's rocking with Ethan Page in that North American team. They're the greatest North Americans. I'm loving it. They happen to both be Canadian. Great stuff. The double champ thing, here's what I'm going to challenge. I think if you make so many double champs, it starts to feel routine, for lack of a better word. It starts to feel like, what are we doing here? Because everybody isn't all of a sudden a double champ, or is WWE contriving something? It starts to feel manufactured is what I'm trying to say. And so if it's manufactured, now it's not special. Back when the Ultimate Warrior had the Intercontinental Championship and then he won the World Championship, it felt special. Like, whoa, this is wild. Now, as we transition and we move forward, double champions are getting to be a little bit too common. And I don't want to see it become common, because it really is a special thing. So WWE, please be careful with that. Speaking of women with multiple belts, I got to give love to CEO. CEO, CEO, CEO. Some of y'all may not agree with me. I understand. A lot of y'all are sick of the 12 belts, Mone. But I agree with Dutch Mantel in the fact that maybe she's not the greatest wrestler. And here's the thing. The biggest storylines and the biggest opportunities didn't always go to the best technical wrestlers. They went to who was over and who elicited reaction night after night after night. And that's what Mercedes Mone does. Why? How? We're talking about her. We're invested in it. Even if you're disgusted with it, you're still invested somehow. You're putting emotional investment, you're eliciting emotion, and that's what wrestling is all about. So, CEO Mercedes Mone is going up against Persephone. She will be facing her for what could possibly be Mercedes Mone's 13th title. Question is, will she be successful? What's going to happen? My money is on Mercedes Mone getting that 13th title and that all coming to pass. And she's only going to take it to another level, another level, another level, another level. All right, so let me know. Y'all comment down below. What do you think about Mercedes Mone winning a 13th title? If you're listening to this on Spotify, hey, rate the podcast. You can still, of course, join the conversation. Let us know on any platform for that matter. What do you think about Mercedes Mone winning a 13th title? Is it necessary? Probably not. But is it something that would make the storyline move forward? Something interesting? I'd love to talk about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Moving right along, Drew McIntyre is suspended from action. Nick Aldis made the decision on Smackdown, and it's questionable, y'all. It's most definitely questionable. But unfortunately, Drew just keeps getting hit after hit after hit. We talk about the Scottish curse, the Drew McIntyre curse. Guys, I think it's real. Now, having said that, regardless of the curse, regardless of anything, what does Drew need to do at this point? I believe Drew McIntyre is best served, and WWE is best served booking him in a capacity where he violates every rule. He comes back. He practically incapacitates Cody. And Drew McIntyre, number one, could start a faction. Number two, Drew McIntyre could make a bid for the World Heavyweight Undisputed Championship, and he could goad Cody into making a match that is truly no disqualification, and WWE actually following through with no disqualification, because you know how they do. They'll book a no disqualification match and then it turns into a regular wrestling match, and that just doesn't make sense. But he goads Cody into that kind of match, and then lo and behold, Drew finally gets the title. Having said that, there's still another cog in the wheel that WWE wants you to forget, and that's Jacob Fatu. I've been saying, and I want to maintain this, because when it happens, you're going to know that you heard it here. Cody Rhodes attacked Jacob Fatu. I don't care what you say, I'm standing on business. I will be remiss. I would be shocked. I would be absolutely flabbergasted if Cody Rhodes did not attack Jacob Fatu. I think the storyline is playing out as it should, that Jacob Fatu is going to be out for a little while, maybe sipping a cup of coffee, maybe having a margarita on the beach. I don't know. But one thing is for sure, he ain't drinking Wheatley. So good, I drink it neatly. He ain't drinking that because he's got a burning hatred in his heart for Cody Rhodes. I believe that. And when he comes back, he's going to reveal that Cody attacked him. And sure enough, it's going to create some doubts and some questions towards Cody Rhodes. Will Cody finally reveal that he is Homelander Cody after all? That remains yet to be seen. Speaking of heels in wrestling, we got to talk about a very interesting case with my man Westside Gunn. Now, I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard a ton of his music. I can't say that Westside Gunn is a great rapper. I can't say if he's an okay rapper. I just haven't followed him to that extent. But one thing that resonated with me was recent tweets that he made about how he's been a WWE fan for a very long time. And that WWE very much disappointed him by kicking him out of the arena and putting a cease and desist on him in terms of making certain wrestling references in his music and on his album covers. Now, could it be that the work that he's done with AEW has caused WWE to feel sour? One thing I know is this. One thing I believe, based on what he's tweeted, is that all that Westside Gunn has wanted to do was be a great fan, be around the WWE. He spent tens of thousands of dollars on travel, on tickets, on some of the best luxury accommodations money can buy to be a part of the WWE experience. And it seems that they have shunned him. I don't know the whole story. We're getting, parts of the story online, and Westside Gunn says, hey, man, this is on God. I'm not even tripping. And, I tend to believe him, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Westside Gunn has not named anyone. He's only barely mentioned or implicated a certain person who had it out for him within WWE. But if he was really vindictive, if he was trying to get at them in some sort of way, Westside Gunn could easily have implicated them. He could easily have said, well, you know what? It was, not saying it is, Michael Hayes, for example. Michael Cole, who knows? I don't know. But he could have easily dropped a name. He could have easily taken shots, and he didn't. And that says something to me. That says that there's more to the story, and that says that he's genuinely hurt. And he even said, the child in me, the fan from long ago in me was so hurt and getting kicked out of the arena. So we're going to follow that more closely. I'm very curious to hear it. I want to know what you think of, of course, comment on this. Let me know, man. What do you guys think about the situation with Westside Gunn? I'm going to dig more into this, and we'll talk more about that in the near future. So AEW announced a new championship, the AEW National Championship, and that title is definitely getting a lot of flack. There are some who are saying that NWA still has claim to the lineage of the National Championship. We do know for a fact that the lineage of the National Championship was absorbed into the WWE United States Championship. So how can AEW really lay claim to a national championship? Well, if you listen closely to Tony Schiavone, and this is where I tend to agree, Tony Schiavone was simply saying there has not been a national championship defended on Turner Broadcasting, because we could say TBS, we could say TNT, what have you. Bottom line, on the Turner networks, there hasn't been a national championship since Georgia Championship Wrestling, so on and so forth. So AEW is simply saying we're bringing this title back where it belongs with Turner's TV. If you've noticed, since the start of AEW, they have not changed. They've stood on business with Turner Networks. The TNT Championship, the TBS Championship, bringing back Sting, Tony Schiavone, giving you some of that nostalgic feel, some of that feel with WCW. Even Jim Ross being a part of it. Even the Pyro, okay? Calling back to WCW Monday Nitro. Not saying that it's all the way WCW, but it is reminiscent. And what's interesting about AEW and the National Championship is that it feels different. I was talking to my man Big K-Dog just recently about how when I watch AEW, I start to feel that same excitement like when I was a kid and watching wrestling. And WWE or WWF back in the day, for me, was always the entertainment show. What's going to happen next? Oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? But WCW was where I fell in love with luchadors, was where I fell in love with cruiserweight style wrestling. technical wrestling, where I fell in love with chasing titles, where I fell in love with larger than life personalities who would actually get the work done in the ring. I think that's where WCW shines, where AEW shines. And I, for one, am happy. I'm excited for this national championship. I know a lot of y'all are showing hate to it, saying, well, what about the All-Atlantic Championship? What about the International Championship? And now the Unified Championship came together. It seems that AEW has too many titles. And we could argue that there's too many titles in AEW, but guys, there's so many titles in WWE, from Evolve to NXT, okay? I mean, now there's AAA titles in the mix, guys. There's a lot of belts going on in WWE, y'all, okay? Between women's division, men's division, developmental, and not to mention all the belts that WWE gives out. You want to get mad at titles, tell them to stop manufacturing titles for every sports team. Tell them to stop handing out titles to everybody who does anything of note, okay? Hey, WWE, guess what? I graduated college. Can I get a belt? I mean, shoot, well, what does a brother got to do to get awarded a title from WWE? Oh, man, there's so much good stuff going on in wrestling today, y'all. And that's what makes it exciting to be a fan. It's all good. You know, WWE, AEW, at the end of the day, whoever's making wrestling content, whoever's rocking with wrestling, man, I salute you. Because one thing is for sure, this is meant to be fun. It's meant to be that we get to enjoy the content, we get to enjoy the programming, we get to enjoy all the things that are wonderful in the wrestling world. And one of the wonderful things that's happening here coming up is the 16-man tournament for John Cena's last match. That's right. There is a 16-man tournament for John Cena's last match on the way. And I for one, can't wait. In speculating, John Cena said there's going to be some guys who don't even work here. Could Joe Henry show up? It's a possibility. Could Edge show up? That's a very controversial possibility. Now, I like something that David Otunga said, if you paid attention to his programming as of late, regarding WWE contracts. David Otunga said that perhaps WWE has been putting so much pressure on Andrade and their contracts and non-compete clauses because this will result in a deal where AEW gets to feature Andrade in exchange for letting Edge come back to wrestle John Cena. Now, that's a stretch, and even Otunga admitted it was a stretch. But in the world of wrestling, in the world of legalese and contracts, things can happen. Promotions can make deals. Look, Shinsuke Nakamura just recently went back to Japan. Okay? Natty's been doing her thing. There are some things happening, some things out there that, hey, you just never know. One thing is for sure, I think this 16-man tournament is going to be a very interesting spectacle. But I'm in agreement with my guy, Big K-Dog. You know that he's been very outspoken on the channel about who should retire John Cena. And a couple names come to mind. Obafemi comes to mind. Okay, that's Big K-Dog's top pick. A name that comes to mind for me, and I think is very likely, is Brock Lesnar. I know a lot of y'all are saying, well, you know what? It should be a young up-and-comer. It should be somebody who could really benefit from it. I think if you're having a guy who has done everything, broken every record, who has absolutely dominated in every aspect, you can look no further than a Brock Lesnar. He broke the streak. One of the youngest WWE champions to ever come through. He's beat John Cena at his best on multiple occasions. Okay? Brock Lesnar he's decimated some of the greatest. Former NCAA champion, former WWE, UFC, you name it. The guy is a freak of nature. He's a force of nature. I don't think there's anybody better than Brock Lesnar, in my opinion. Now, if we're going to give it to a young guy, there's a lot of names that you can throw in the hat. I like Obafemi being one of them. I like a young man like a Trick Williams. Say what you want. I like a Trick Williams doing his thing. I like Joe Hendry. Okay? Even more so than Brock Lesnar. I'm going to go out on a limb. Even more so than Brock Lesnar. If we're going to see a young guy, okay, Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio, even Cody Rhodes said recently, is the future of the business. He gets it. And I don't think anybody connects with youth culture, with what's hot, what's popping right now, what's trending, what's actually relevant to a younger audience than Dom Mysterio. So if it's my vote for the best young up-and-comer, Dom Mysterio all day long. Finally, controversial take, Roman Reigns. We've known John Cena to say that Roman Reigns is the GOAT. Now, in that interview when John Cena said that, it made sense because he said, look, Roman held the title for the longest in the modern era. Roman Reigns has been the top champion. Roman Reigns has done what a lot have not done. He's the guy. He's the GOAT. Now, could that have been for just that time? Or could we see Roman Reigns take on John Cena one more time, retire John Cena, catapult himself back to a momentous run, and really dominate and wreck shop when it comes to finally taking on Bronson Reed, murking him, taking on Braun Breaker, murking him, Seth Rollins returns, murking him, and then making that bid to turn right back around and face Cody Rhodes for the undisputed title? Or will we see Roman once again unify the title? This is way speculating, but we see Roman once again unify the World Heavyweight Championship and WWE Undisputed Championship. A lot of things can happen, y'all. It's the world of wrestling. One thing is for sure, John Cena is definitely one of the GOATs and deserves to go out on a high note, and I just can't wait to see what is in store for John Cena as he wraps up this year and wraps up his career. All in all, guys, it's all things wrestling. So thank you for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate you rocking with the heavyweight commentary. I want you to do 3 things for us if you could. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, okay? Matter of fact, I'll add a 4th. Please share. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you can rate the podcast. You can make a comment on this particular episode. Whatever you want to do, whatever you're feeling, cool. If you're watching this short form content on any platform whatsoever, please make sure you do us the love, the likes, all the accolades that you can give us. It only helps a great deal. We appreciate every bit of love you give us. And I'm signing off saying love, peace, and chicken grease. Stay heavy, baby.